Good morning, everybody. Hope you do fantastically well. It's Connor here, and yes, we are back with the Rumour. Yes, we are back with another One Leeds video, and it's bright and sunny here in Yorkshire. It's fantastic, isn't it? Everything lifts when it's bright and sunny. It is what we saw. It's 7 a.m. and it's bright and sunny. I'm absolutely loving it. Let's hope this continues throughout the week. Well, it will for me, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But what are you all doing today? What are you all doing this week? Is it going to be a good week for you? Is it going to be a bad week for you? Hopefully, it's going to be a good week for Leeds United as we are building up to the Premier League campaign starting. My juices were flowing, everybody. My juices were flowing after the Lionesses got a fantastic win yesterday. They brought football home. Not only that, but the Championship weekend was in full swing. I was checking out League One. I was watching the Championship. As you guys know, I try watch all types of football. I was watching Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig. I was watching it all. So, listen, I'm back into the spirit of things. The Leeds United kick off their Premier League campaign next Saturday against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Ellen Road. And we got a little bit of a preview of that last night against Cagliari. Obviously, the Serie B side. Let me just shut my door there. The Serie B side came to Ellen Road. I'm just going to touch on that a little bit. We're going to touch on my thoughts. We did a watch along, which is crazy. It's hit 20,000 views. So thank you. I didn't expect any views on it. I really didn't, because I don't do watch alongs. So thank you for your support, your likes. I will definitely be doing more of those when I can, which hopefully will be more regularly this season with my job change and all this sort of good stuff. But guys, before I start the video as well, what I will say is if you want some bonus content, if you want some bonus Leeds United content, we are going to be setting up specific series that are going to be on the Patreon accounts. That's going to happen every single week. So if you want some bonus stuff, you want some bonus chatting, you want some bonus Leeds content overall, go check that out. Link will be in the description below. Excuse me. Here we go. Without any further ado, let's get into the Cagliari game straight off the bat, everyone, because I know everyone's going to be asking me about that. So my overriding thoughts after reflecting, after watching the highlights, after checking everything out on Twitter, after doing all that good research, I was okay with it yesterday. You know, Connor, how can you not be okay with 6 goals, you ask? I was happy with Brendan Aronson, the best performance on the pitch for me. I thought Tyler Adams was fantastic in breaking up play. I love when he fronts players up. He's almost challenging players to take him on. In 1v1 situations, I don't think we've had someone who's that combative and that physical in that area. I would arguably say he's better than Calvin Phillips at that 1v1 defend against an attacker. He's exceptional. Does the simple things right. Has a very, very high football IQ, which you guys know I've always moaned about when I've come to Leeds United. Some of our players just don't do the simple things. They don't do the basics. They don't do the obvious things. And I think that is exactly what Tyler Adams does. On the other side, I thought Rocket, you guys know how much of an affinity I have towards him. I thought he was a little bit poor yesterday. I didn't think he had the greatest game. But overall, I thought the midfield was okay. I thought it was decent. I thought Tyler Adams brought that up. Going further forward, I thought Brendan Aronson was superb. 3 assists. I thought his percentages, me and my dad were talking about on the watch-along yesterday, his percentages, we were talking about, just the 1v1 duels earlier and maybe Tyler Adams has been consistently good when it comes to an offensive 1v1 duel. Aronson was brilliant. On the right, he was fantastic. He was taking men on. He's got that real 5-yard pace, which I didn't know he had in his locker. Can play on the right-hand side for the States as well, or has played on the right-hand side for the States. And it just shows his versatility. And he genuinely reminds me of a Jurgen Klopp player, a Liverpool player, system-based player who does everything right. And his percentages are so high. You know, his passing efficiency, his football IQ, and that's what I'm saying with Tyler Adams. It was very, very similar. So those two, fantastic signings in my opinion. And you can see that through pre-season. Tyler Adams has really surprised me and impressed me. You guys know that I wanted Mo Kamara, but Tyler Adams is doing the basics really, really well. Bob got off the score sheet, which was great to see. 2 goals for him. Obviously, Gelhardt wasn't in the squad. James wasn't in the squad. A couple of others weren't, because I believe Leeds played Man City in a behind closed doors under 21s game. So you're expecting them to be fit as well. A lot of rumours about Sinistera. Apparently, there's rumours that he might be okay for the Wolves game. The hamstring injury isn't as bad as once thought, which is great. And yeah, listen. I was speaking yesterday about the crazy minutes that Leeds United had when it came to us conceding the 2 goals. I thought it was really poor defensively. There's no way getting around that. I know we scored 6 goals. I know it's fantastic, but to put it into context, Cagliari made loads of changes at halftime, brought on almost a B team. Not only that, but they're an extremely poor side, And you saw that with, I believe was it Bamford's goal where they just passed the ball to us. You know, they were consistently just passing the ball to Leeds United. So scoring 6 goals was a requirement, really, and a basic requirement. But I thought overall they were a shocking standard of opponent, probably the worst we've faced, even ahead of Blackpool. But yeah, when they cut through us twice, and then they really should have equalised, shouldn't they? When the ball went over the top into the channel, which consistently kept happening. And let me just break it down to you system-wise. When Christensen's pushing forward, which he has to do in this system because he's the width in a narrow system. When Pascal Strout pushes up in a narrow system, which he's going to have to do, all the opposition seemingly need to do is when Leeds are in those press effective actions, what they need to do seemingly is get the ball, chip it over the top into those channels. When the ball is into those channels, Leeds have a problem. And that's happened with Villa, that's happened with Palace. What I will say about yesterday is when you are playing a high line, you have to have that perfected, absolutely perfected. There was a couple in the first half where we did it really, really well. They were offside numerous times. That's when you've got it perfect. You know, the second goal, there's definitely question marks about that being offside. But, you know, you do always run the risk with a high line. You have to have recovery pace at the back as well on the turn, which I don't know if we fully have. And you have to have defenders who are fully in the motion, fully focused and concentrated on keeping that line perfect, always being disciplined with that line. And I felt a couple of times and a fair few times in pre-season, Leeds have maybe been a little bit exposed there. So that is definitely a worry because Cagliari shouldn't be breaking through us like that. They are a poor side. And you know, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Southampton, Chelsea, Everton, Brighton are going to be looking at that. So I do definitely have a worry that when you're looking at, I mean, I've spoken to Dave from Talking Wolves on a preview, which is really exciting. That will be out later on this week, everybody. But they're likely going to be starting with Raul Jimenez, obviously out of the side. They're going to be starting with a front three of Neto, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Daniel Podence. Now, that is a fluid front three. Okay, so if Cagliari are breaking the lines, if Cagliari are able to curate chances like that, Wolves are going to be looking at that. So that needs to be the defensive actions need to be much better. I don't know how they do that. You know, that's the value of having a top coach in there, isn't it? And perfecting those things. But I do think there is a potential that this year it might be Leeds are going to concede a bucket load, but I think we will score a bucket load as well. So it's almost weird because it's very non-Bielsa-y, but in a same sort of instance, like we saw with Marsch at Leipzig when they were conceding goals for fun, we will score goals and we will concede goals. So from that premise, it's a different system, different style, different everything, different personnel, but that way it's going to be quite similar. So hold on to your seats. It's going to be a ride. I think it is. I've had a lot of people asking me where I think Leeds will finish. I'm going to get onto that in a future video, a video this week. I'm going to do sort of like season predictions, who I think is going to be top scorer, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, anyway, excuse me, let's get into the overall news this week. Anyway, apparently Sonny Perkins has made a massive impression since he's been at Leeds United. I'd have quite liked to have seen him yesterday, but according to The Athletic, Perkins, when he's moved to Ellen Road, when he's been playing at Thorpe Arch, when he's been featuring, he's been absolutely phenomenal in training, and it's going to be difficult for Jesse Marsch to ignore him. Apparently, they've been really impressed by how versatile he is along that front line as well. And maybe that's why, you know, there's people turning around and saying, well, do we need another forward? Well, for me, of course, we need another forward. You know, this guy's just a kid. He's 18 years of age. He's barely had any Premier League experience. But it is a good signing, you know. Tottenham were massively keen on signing the teenager. There's been absolutely no argument against that. That's been an obvious one. But yeah, keep an eye on that one. It'd be nice to see him yesterday. We didn't, but we move on. Julian Canoes, we've not really covered this on the Rumour Mill because it seems like a little bit of a dead story, to be quite honest with you. But there is a lot of people who are turning around and saying, look, this is gathering pace. Leeds are set to have talks with this guy this week. So, you know, we're going to have to wait and see how that one pans out. But Leeds United could sign Julian Canoes with the Atlas striker, obviously part of the Mexican League, being offered up to Jesse Marsch this summer. That bit, I do believe that he has been offered up. The Whites have been focused on signing this striker, but have suffered some blows of late, which we have. You know, you look at Callum Wendo, he's impressing at PSG, and apparently Rennes are really pushing with that one. It's obviously going to be dependent on what Callum Wendo wants. Leeds should be in a real position to, you know, fight with Rennes on Callum Wendo. You know, I mean, we got Rafinha from Rennes, didn't we, really, when you're looking at it? So that shouldn't be a problem, but it might be a problem. Callum Wendo might want to stay in France. Obviously, we've lost out on Charles de Ketelaere to AC Milan. So there's absolutely no doubt that Leeds United are looking in those areas. Obviously, Mergin Berisha has also been linked, and we'll get onto the other linky in a little bit. But Foot Mercato reported last week that Leeds are fighting Strasbourg in the race to sign Julian Canoes. So, yeah, but the problem is Julian Canoes might not actually qualify to play in the Premier League. Obviously, Leeds have signed one Colombian in Luis Sinisterra. So, Canoes actually hasn't had any senior caps for Colombia and has spent his time in Mexico. But there's going to be a problem because running his name through a governing body endorsement tool brings up that Canoes has just 14 points out of a possible 65. Also, obviously, you need a certain amount to be able to qualify to play Premier League football, to qualify to be able to be given a work permit. And this is going to go to an exceptions panel. It really will. So I don't know if they can get this one done. It seems complicated. I don't know if this is going to be something that Leeds are going to be able to do in time. Even the transfer window ending. Can we do it within that time period? I don't think so. Apparently, Jesse Marsh was very, very happy with the new signings yesterday. Rasmus Christensen, Tyler Adams, Mark Rocker, and obviously Brendan Aronson. Very impressed with the new signings. He said he was asked about the 4 players and said, "That's what I said. I talked about pushing them physically before the game and wanted the new players to know that it wasn't a full Ellen Road crowd tonight, which they are going to have to experience, but it was important to acclimatise themselves to the match." And I think when you're looking at them all, when you're breaking them all down, Rasmus, I thought was okay. He was decent. I love the amount he gets forward, but as I say, I'm always a little bit tentative because they're going to get caught out on that right and left hand side by top Premier League players and wingers. That's going to happen. But I loved him going forward. I think it's excellent in that respect. Brendan was just superb again. They said Mark Rocker will be my favourite. Missed the yellow card for that reason and that reason only, because you affiliate with a Leeds United player, don't you? When I played football, I was a central midfielder. I gave a lot of fouls away, but I have that quality. You know what I mean? But no, yeah, Mark Rocker is definitely my favourite. But I thought he had a poor game last night. Tyler Adams was fantastic. 2 American boys, showing everyone up really. And I think they will show everyone up this year for people who've doubted Americans in football. I thought it was fantastic. I think both of them have been brilliant in pre-season so far. And yeah, I think there's a lot to look at. I think there's a lot to look at with these new signings. I really do. I think we should be excited. So hopefully we're going to be. Have I missed one out there? I think I've missed one out. Rocker, Adams, Aronson, Christensen. I've got them all right. I'm not fantastic. Okay, right. Leeds United are now in. Apparently, obviously, we've just spoken about Julian Canoes, but apparently Leeds want to sign both Shea Adams and Julian Canoes as part of a double attacking transfer blitz. The newspaper, which is the Daily Mail, has reported that the Whites want Southampton and Atlas forwards on to strengthen in the depth in the final third, and talks will be held inside the club in the next 17 hours over the move ahead of the Premier League season. Yeah, and this is all broken as well with Alan Nixon in The Sun, who's got a Patreon account. You can check out the One Leeds Patreon account, everybody. Link in the description below if you want some bonus content. But yeah, I think the Shea Adams one's interesting. I don't really understand what Leeds fans are getting at. I tell you what. Let me know why you wouldn't want Shea Adams. How about that? Let me know why you wouldn't want Shea Adams. Shea Adams has been prevalent for Southampton side for many years now. He was fantastic at Birmingham. Used to give Leeds so many problems. And I was saying this yesterday. In terms of an actual out and out number 9 now, you don't really have many in world football. Kane, Lewandowski, Benzema, maybe. But aside from that, other centre forwards, a la Charles de Ketelaere, can do other things. They are versatile. They aren't the classic number 9 where it's running off the shoulder, hit the target man. They have to have different parts of the game. They have to be able to play shadow striker, false 9, anywhere across the front line. That's what they have to do, because football is all about versatility nowadays. It's about different systems. It's about managers utilising different systems and being pragmatic. What I don't understand with fans are saying, Chad, I mean, listen, football's subjective, but where do you think Leeds are? We're not going to be like Charles de Ketelaere was never going to happen. Let's be honest. I mean, you can't really ever say that on air because people call you negative, but it's never going to happen. You're in a competition with AC Milan. AC Milan, who do have the money to front up. They do have the money to front up. They're the Champions League winners. It's a beautiful Champions League winners. Well, they have been before. Champions League qualification, beautiful city, and the Serie A champions. And look what they've got to sell as a profile. Leeds finished 17th. And this is my argument. Leeds should have done all of this business when we finished ninth. I know it was part of the plan, but maybe the plan should have been adjusted to, in the first 2 years, we go really hard on certain players if we were able to fit within the financial fair play remit, sell loads of players, sell certain players on, and where we can make value from them because we've just finished ninth in the division, so we can make that equilibrium of the financial fair play. We can measure it a little bit, and then we do a lot of our top business in the second year and calm down for the third year, because I understand apparently for the second year it was all about just mitigating that cost, but to mitigate that cost you sell players on as well. So Leeds didn't do that. So the profile of the club when you finish 17th, when you just avoid relegation, is not good. It's not good. So going for these top players, Callum Wendo is going to be tough. It is going to be tough to get that one done because of the profile of the club at the minute. You know, if you're looking at Leeds United and you're thinking, well, they've just sold Rafinha, they've just sold Calvin Phillips. I understand they've brought players in. These European players might not be fully aware of the players that we have brought in. And they finished 17th last season. What really is the projection this season? They can't really go from the 17th to top 10. That's a massive, massive gap, huge gap to make up, and something you don't really see in football, to be honest with you. So that's something that we all need to take into consideration, the profile of the club right now. So a person like Shadham's coming to Leeds, but actually, he's actually lowering his value, if you think about it, because he's coming to a club. This isn't me saying that Leeds are a smaller club than Southampton, obviously, but what I am saying is Southampton finished higher than Leeds United. They finished higher than Leeds. You know, they've been in the Premier League longer than Leeds. You know, so there's probably more security from Shay Adams' perspective at staying at Southampton. And FYI, that's what I think he will do. I think he'll stay at Southampton. But, you know, Leeds pushing that Shay Adams agenda, I think he's a very good player. I think he fits the system. He's been playing in a Red Bull system under Ralph Hasenhüttl now for the best part of 3 years. He's still young. Every time that I watch Shay Adams play, he's fantastic for Scotland. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. So I just think there's a lot to take into consideration here. A striker just isn't about goals. It's about the overall perspective. It's like bringing others into play. That's what we should know that with Patrick Bamford anyway. He's never been prolific. When you're looking at our number 9, he's never been a prolific striker. That's exactly what Shay Adams is. Unfortunately, everybody, if you want a 30-goal a season striker, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It really isn't. And FYI, again, I don't think that'll happen with Bamford this season. I don't think he's going to get a massive amount of goals, but there are going to be other contributions from other players. And that's exactly what Leeds need when they're bringing another attacker like Shay Adams. It's to get Shay Adams on top. It's to get Shay Adams on the score sheet. It's to get Shay Adams grabbing assist and to work within a system. You look at the pressing machine that was Leeds United last night when you had Tyler Adams, Brendan Harrison, Jack Harrison. That is exactly what Shay Adams does. So a system-based player like Shay Adams would be a fantastic signing. So I don't understand it. We can do better than Shay Adams. Who? Let me know who. Who is better than who? What level are we looking at here? What level do we think we're at? Where are our expectations? Because to me, I'll give you a little bit of a hint. My perspective is Leeds are going to finish somewhere between 14th and 17th this season, right? So my expectation is that sort of player. We're not going to be going out and getting a top striker and find a gem like Rafinha. Rafinha's 1 in a million. He really is. So I think perspective has got to be applied to these things. I think Shadams would be a really, really good signing, and especially if we can get him for a snippet, obviously based on his contract. But let me know what you think, everybody. It's been a really, really detailed rumour mill today. Matthias Klich as well. There's been chat of him last night. Apparently, you know, there's maybe a reason that he didn't come on if you're looking between the lines yesterday, because obviously you thought he'd have come on. Maybe Christensen hurt his head. I was thinking Adams was going to go to right back, and maybe Klich could have come on in midfield. He didn't do that. Klich wants to play in the World Cup this summer. He's not going to be getting regular minutes, so keep an eye on that one. Yeah, I don't know what the value would be for someone like Klich. It'd be unbelievable if we get 5 million, but I think moving him on is a good thing. Everyone's going to say, and I understand this, we're not replacing him with anyone, but it's not all about that in football. It's not all about that. You need to move players on when you have the opportunity to move players on. You can't just get, and fans have this weird sort of value that bodies on the bench and players who've been in the system before means that we should keep them no matter what. That's just not the case. Matthias Klich is at the end of his tenure at Leeds United. We all know that. We all know that he's a little bit broken. We all know that he's always going to be a substitute. He's going to come on and probably not do that much. So Leeds, in my opinion, yes, they should go out and maybe replace him. But maybe then you can blood in someone like Lewis Bate, who then can take up the Matthias Klich role, who can probably come on and make a difference and then play in a more system-based side where he's then able to get experience instead of being lower down in the pecking order. That I actually don't mind. I don't think we necessarily need to go out and buy another midfielder. You know, every football fan always wants a shiny new toy. That's football. But at the end of the day, we signed Chelsea's captain. Chelsea offered this guy a new contract. Chelsea's, he played in numerous European competitions, played for England. He really is a prospect. So giving him minutes, giving him time is going to be only good for his progress and only good for Leeds United. So Matthias Klich leaving isn't a bad thing. It just means there's more time and more minutes for one of our youngsters who's going to be at Leeds United for longer. And if he's not going to be at Leeds for longer, we need to up his profile so we can sell him on, as all the big clubs do. But moving Matthias Klich on isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So that's my perspective on everything, guys. Hopefully, we're going to be bringing some new signings. You'll have your Wolves preview with Dave from the Talking Wolves coming out soon. More content, more bonus content. Go out and check One Leeds in the channel in the description below. And one more week, everybody. Exciting times. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in a